Okay, so next step is we're going to move to the rest of the rigging. And in the pattern book I show 4 different latigo ties. For ease of use for like live show tack up, I would use billets instead. So I have 4 pieces of, it's about 3-inch leather lace here that I made, and I've skived it already, and I'm just going to go ahead and it could be thinner than this. It's just sometimes when you have it, you just use it. So we'll go ahead and put these on. Fold over should only be, I don't know, it doesn't have to be that much. I think that's about 1/4 of an inch. 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1000. Alright, and then we'll go this side. Don't want to be that's better. Okay. One, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1000. Then one more. There we go. Alright, and then I'm going to snip these to a point. You can do single point or double point, or single-sided point or double-sided, whichever you prefer. A little over there, so straighten that out. So makes it easier to tack up. Technically this would never be a point on a real saddle. They always kind of trim it, and you can go look at these and see that it's usually that little like barn style is what they usually are. You can go check that out. Now the other thing we need to do is holes, because these are going to act like buckles. And so, I mean, you can do needle on a stick. Some people do this, they heat it up and it makes a nice permanent hole. I don't have to do any of that because I have my Fancy Dancy hole maker. I love my Fancy Dancy hole maker. I usually have it on the metal one, in case you have one of these. And the most important thing is you get one shot at getting this centered. Come down about that far. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Oh, not quite centered. 3, 4. Alright, so that's now ready. Sorry for the noise. That's now ready to put for a cinch, and I guess that's what we need to do next is... Alright, next step for our pack saddle is going to be a girth. And because I'm using the billets, I'm going to need to have tongues in my girth. And so I've got all of those already made and soldered, and I have a video on how to make these. Go find that at How to Solder Jump Rings. We're going to simulate a web girth using elastic. And we need to kind of measure the animal for how big a one it is. Now usually you'll see the ring is going to kind of be right back here, right there. So I'm going to add a little bit for overlap on both sides, and then that's going to be the front girth. The rear girth is going to be a little bit longer. This is actually a very, this is going to be connected in the middle, the way a pack saddle girth would be. So this one's going to be a little bit longer because it's going to be, there's more here is the best way to say it. And this stuff's going to stretch, so it's not like you're ever going to be wrong, but you want it to be snug without without being too big. Does that make sense? Okay, so the next thing we're going to need to do is make a hole for the eye. Actually, it goes this way. So this is the front. See how it naturally bends like that? Use the natural bend, how it go on the belly. That means this is the front. And what I need is to make a hole in the middle. So there's like 1, 2, 3 of these larger pieces of elastic on each side. So I'm just cutting right in the middle there, trying not to cut the actual elastic because the elastic is structural. And then we'll go ahead and feed that in there. We'll see how well I did, because I should be able to pull. There we go. Wait, that's being a pain. Don't do that. Alright. We are going to close this up a little bit. This isn't quite what I wanted. There. Ow. I know. Stop. Alrighty. Right like that. Closing it up. And then I'm going to snip off the extra. And let's try that again. Right in the hole. And then we want, snip this right in here. Okay, so you can see the eye is on this side. I'm going to go ahead and secure this with glue. Okay, that was so much fun. So now let's we clip these a little bit further past the end, like that. And just because I know that sometimes my nippers like to give sharp points, and I've bled before, I go ahead and try and shave off any sharp points. Okay, so this should have given you a hint that we're going to do just a little bit of stitching. It's a stress point. If the glue lets go, the saddle falls off. And if you have it tacked up tight, it might launch. So we're just going to do just a quick stay stitch. It's nothing much. Just in case. I might put a little dab of glue on there too, just so that the stitching doesn't come apart. Okay, next thing we need to do, and this is specific to pack girths, and I saw this and I thought this is awesome. Anybody can do this. So we need to sew these two together right here in the middle. And the long one is back and the short one is front, and I'm just going to mark dead center. Just a little mark so I know where dead center is. I want to lay them down so they're naturally bowing the way I want them to go when they get on the model. And that's going to be like that. Now the breast collar does not have a tie down to the girth because it's got rigging in the back. So the breast collar is just to keep things from sliding backwards. It's not need to control the horse or the mule because the mule's going to just have a halter. So we'll just go ahead and start in the middle, and we're just going to do stitching over the very first piece of elastic. You know, see the ribs of the very first one. So we'll go ahead and do that. We want it to be flush, and we want to not bleed. So let's see. I use a lot of fingers. So we'll do this side first, and then I'll run the needle over and do the other side. And this is matching thread. Now you could create a web girth for this and weave it. And I don't know if I'll do that. I'll probably do a web girth video. I don't know if I'll do a pack saddle version, but if you wanted to actually make a string girth, you could do that and then have it connected in the middle and get all fancy colors and everything. But this is utilitarian. And I always say, if this is a prop in the background, you don't want it to be prettier than the animal that's going to get the ribbon. So if it's functional, that's awesome, but don't distract from the animal that's you're trying to get to win the points. So I don't know if I'm pleased with the shadows. I don't think I can turn on any more lights. I actually have 3 lights on right now, trying to force the shadows under my hand. Alright, we'll just do, what's that? Okay, I'm going to cut that. So we'll do one last, right there through the stitching. And then, I think that was my starting thread right there, and that's my ending thread, and then, yes, just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere, we'll just put a little glue on it. That is your cinch. And because we use the tongues, it should be really easy to, especially if you're at a show, it should be really quick. They tack these things up. A live show, I usually try to prepare for live shows. I like going to live shows. So we got that. Here's a saddle pad. Where are we? There we go. There's a saddle pad I made in a previous video. It's in my playlist for Western tack. We will put this on that way. Layer down. Because it's elastic and this is a horse and this is a fake horse, not a real horse. Oops, let's get on there. You really would try to make sure it's on the same hole on both sides. So that's pretty tight. Let's go up one more hole. And then we'll check the other side and make sure that we got both of them on the 3rd hole. Oh. I'll bring that one down to the 3rd hole. And that one down to the 3rd hole, and we'll see how that fits. So for the show, I would probably sticky wax this down. Just do a little sticky wax so it lays flat, looks more real. Or I'd round it under the night before so that it was trained. It's not trained yet, so we could still do that. So there you go. Next thing we're going to do is breast collar.